My name is Ken Miller, the president of StateWay Logistics. I'm here as the host of the Hall of Fame podcast brought to you by One Truck America. That is onetruck.us on the internet. Okay, first I'm going to give you a quick background on us, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about One Truck America so you truly understand who they are. I've been in the industry since 1999. I've been about 20 years with a large trucking company. I did everything from our dedicated to our some OTR to our intermodal dray. When I left, I started a company specifically dealing with drayage, and our motto is simple. If you ship out of a rail yard or a port in North America, we've got you covered. All you got to do is reach out to us at StateWayLogistics.com. Now, what's more important, let's talk to you about One Truck America. One Truck America is one of the most advanced online channels for trucking out there. They publish articles in media weekly, and I think it's very important to understand this is industry stuff that means a lot to the drivers, the trucking companies, or even the people that support that. So these are trucking manufacturers, tire manufacturers, etc. There's also a newsletter that's published bi-monthly that you should go on their line and check out. Also, One Truck America is on every major platform, whether you talk about on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Please go out there and follow them as you can get updates on one. You're going to get updates on the Hall of Fame. You get updates on Ken Miller at StateWay Logistics. You're definitely going to get all the important information that they have put out. They attend a lot of conferences. They get a lot of feedback from manufacturing. They get a lot of feedback from trucking companies. They get a lot of feedback from people in the EV community, autonomous security, you name it. And you're going to see some of that as we go through these episodes, as it all merged together, you understand what the Hall of Fame podcast is all about. It's just an extension of One Truck America. Episode 1, State of the Industry. We're going to cover the actual state of the industry. When do we expect it back? How did we get here? And are there any other contributing factors to the industry being the way it is today? Okay? Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Let's start with the state of the industry. This has been a topic that I've been overwhelmed with. I can't tell you the amount of people in the industry, whether some are drivers, some are managers, that have asked me about this topic. I actually wrote an article that One Truck America picked up that talked about the recovery. So we expect the state of the industry to start recovering at the end of the second quarter, and you'll continue to see it bounce back going into 2023. Now, going into 2025, I am telling you, I've never seen the industry this bad. Even after the market crash, the banking crash, we did not see such a long, sustained low in the industry like you're seeing. If you go back to the beginning of 2023 until now, it's been a down market like I have never witnessed since I entered this industry in 1999. We're talking about over 23, 24 years. Now, I think there's a lot of things that cause that, and I see the recovery and the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, how did we get here? COVID, huge disruption for us, not only in our industry, in any industry. When you shut down production, and then you shut down importing, and then you start it back, that all takes issues. Just think about anything you make in this industry. Even if you're making a t-shirt, or you're making a doghouse, and it's being manufactured overseas. Once you lay the people off that are manufacturing, you're the same person making that product for years. They're probably working the same part of that assembly for years. You lay them all off, you bring them back. Did you have 100% of the employees that were there that came back? I don't know. I doubt you did. So now you're dealing with quality issues, okay? Starting on top of that, now you bring in shipping back, which leads into the U.S. into intermodal shipping, trucking shipping, drayage delivery shipping. That's all start to come back at the same time, and you have people that have moved around. There are people that have left the industry, decided not to come back. So there's the instance of a lot of new people in new jobs in every part of the supply chain, okay? And what you saw right after that is a huge increase in rates. Like anything else, when there's a shortage, rates goes up. There were shortages. And you saw that all through 2021, coming into 2022, where people think the market was actually strong. The market was not actually strong. It was just recovery from COVID itself. And you see that clearly as you went into 2023 and the freight market dropped. And you see, when you talk about companies like Yellow Roadway, and they're either the third or fourth largest LTL carrier, less than truckload, in America, going out of business, you know that there was a major issue here. And this was not an issue that was going to be fixed overnight, okay? So how do we recover from that, and where do we see us going, okay? Now, you know how we got here. Everyone understands the shutdown during COVID, and almost the second shutdown that happened in some places. So, and the recovery from that drove rates to a number that wasn't sustainable. So the amount of manufacturing that was happening did not equal to the amount of consumption that was happening, because you were manufacturing from a backlog. And why were you? You think about if you were building a house during that time, what was your lumber cost? Up 50, 60, 60%? That was across the nation. Anything. I remember I bought a car right before COVID. I'm not going to get into the make and model, but I paid $50,000 for it. I could have traded that car in at one point for $70,000 a year and a half later. And you saw it across every industry. Now you start to see that things come back down to norm. I don't think they're at norm yet. And I think then you'll truly just see what the market brings, because what the market brings is what you spend and what you buy creates freight. Nothing you have in your house, nothing you're wearing was made in your house. It all got there by a truck driver. So the more you spend, the more you have. Now, the less, as people exit the market, like you have trucking companies that are closing left and right. And I just named the big one in yellow, but let's talk about even brokerage. Your electronic brokerage Convoy, out of business. We're talking about backed by some serious investors, including Mark Cuban, out of business. And there's several other companies that I can name that have closed during this time. So the recovery is coming. I think it's been a long recovery, and with less people in the market, I think it will allow the market to slowly start to recover. Now, people say, well, why hasn't it started recovering a little bit sooner? I think we would have seen a better 2024 if it wasn't for the other issues that are happening in supply chain. So let's forget COVID's over, okay? The unrest around Taiwan and whether China is going to invade Taiwan. And the moment that starts, what happened to the shipping lanes from any place in China, whether it's Shanghai, wherever, you name it, what is going to happen to those shipping lanes? Uncertainty in that region. Secondly, the Suez Canal. Okay, the Suez Canal consists of 12% of all global freight. 12%, all global freight go through this small area called the Suez Canal that are being attacked by the Houthi rebels. So because of those attacks, 45% of shipping lines have moved around to go around the Cape Horn around Africa. That adds 2 weeks to your shipping, okay? So what was a 3-week trip, depends where you're coming. Let's say you're coming from India, 3.5 weeks, you just add 2 more weeks at a minimum to 5 weeks, but I think it's greater, maybe closer to 6. Now, are the shipping lines going to forever eat that number? No. Like anyone else, they're going to try to pass that number on to the seller, whoever is buying that product. Someone is buying that product to sell it to you. So eventually, they'll try to pass that number on to the seller. The seller is then going to try to package that number and pass it on to you, the buyer. Okay, so eventually it will trickle all the way down to the person walking into that store buying that product that's not manufactured here in the U.S. itself, which there are tons of products that are not. So I think keep that in mind. Now, lastly, think about the Panama Canal. 40% of U.S. freight goes through the Panama Canal. 40%. We're not talking about a small number here. Think about the water levels there. Now, I'm not going to go into the politics of why, of what people are saying, but it is definitely proven that the destruction of more of the Amazon rainforest is creating to less rainfall, which means there's less water for the Panama Canal. That is an issue because we've seen huge lines to get through the Panama Canal to get to the eastern half of the U.S., and there's not a good option in sight. I know there are some crazy products out there offering. Mexico is working on some train product where you drop all the boxes, rail across, and then it picks up in another ship and bring it up. They're even working on another possible canal, I think, in Nicaragua. I can't tell you whether any of these things, what is the best line, what is the best one, which one is going to end up working. But there is a need for a canal or some way to get through Central America without going all the way down to go around Chile and Argentina to come back up. That's not necessarily the best option, nor I think it's an option at all. When you talk about the amount of freight that we are actually consuming that are coming from overseas. So keep that also in mind. Now, and another thing that has affected our freight industry is also the Ukraine war. You got to believe any war that involves fuel, any country involves fuel, whether it's Iraq, whether it's Iran, whether it's Venezuela, which we don't import from, or Russia, is going to affect our economy negatively. Okay, because it's going to drive fuel prices up. Now, there's several ways to drive that by and let the political agenda on which side is the right one decide that. But I think that's something that also you must consider, which is causing some issues within our freight economy itself. In closing, let's just rehash what we talked about. The state of our industry, not very good. I expect it to come back the end of second quarter, and you'll see a slow recovery from there. How did we get here? COVID started it, but I think just the disruptions that we've had in the Suez Canal, the unrest in Taiwan, China, and the low waters in Panama has all led to where we are today, the continuing delay of a stronger freight economy. Okay? Now, in closing, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch our first episode, and this is the Hall of Fame.